This week on Healthy Living, Understanding Down Syndrome. A woman in Mozambique shares her story of living with Down syndrome. And is there a link between constipation and migraines? The answer coming up. Plus, we'll have more on the healing and therapeutic power of horses. That's in this edition of Healthy Living. Hello, I'm Kamiti Kibayasi in for Linah Modu. Thank you for joining us on Healthy Living. About 3,000 to 5,000 babies in the world are born with trisomy 21 or Down syndrome, according to the United Nations. Down syndrome is a genetic disorder caused by the presence of all or part of the third copy of chromosome 21. The condition is usually associated with physical growth delays, mild to moderate intellectual disability, and characteristic facial features. Down syndrome can be more or less severe from one person to another. Experts say it is the most common genetic chromosomal disorder and cause of learning disabilities in children. The quality of life of people with Down syndrome can be improved with special education and social support. However, in developing countries, access to resources is a big challenge. To better understand some of the difficulties faced by people with Down syndrome, we visit a woman in Maputo who lives with the condition. Sejon Jambi reports from Mozambique.
Here in the neighborhood of Bagamoyo in the city of Maputo, we discovered the story of Irene, a 19-year-old with Down syndrome. According to the Centers for Disease Control in the United States, Down syndrome is when a person is born with an extra chromosome. Instead of having the typical number of 46, someone with Down syndrome has an extra copy of chromosome 21, which alters body and brain development. Her mother says that it was in the first months after birth she noticed that her daughter was different.
When we went to see the doctor to find out what my daughter had, he told us that she was not the only child with this disease. He recommended that we go to therapy. He also said that there were other children there, some in a much worse situation.
At 5 years old, she started to take her first steps, and at 7, she was able to say a few words. Irene never went to school and she rarely interacts with others. She used to have therapy sessions at the hospital but stopped because of financial difficulties.
We'd go to the central hospital where we'd be given some toys and instructed to move from side to side, that's all. I ended up getting tired because it wasn't easy to hop on the taxi with her every day either. I couldn't work anymore. I didn't have the money to pay the taxi. Also, you know how these guys are. When they see you with a disabled person, they don't respect you. You end up waiting at the taxi stop forever.
The United Nations estimates that each year about 3,000 to 5,000 children are born with Down syndrome and subject to various challenges, mainly in developing countries.
There are a lot of challenges, and there's pain in my heart. She's 19 years old, and she's still practically a baby. Sometimes we have to carry her. I have a small business, but I always have to come home to check on her. It's a complicated situation. My heart aches when I see other children running around.
The family also deals with prejudice. Palmira says some people say that the daughter is in this situation because of witchcraft. She recently joined the cooperative called Luana Semeia Sorrisos, Restoring Smiles. The cooperative was created in 2017 in the city of Maputo and acts in the dissemination of information, awareness about rare and mental diseases in the country, as well as the empowerment of women who have children with special needs.
Before the pandemic, mothers came here and left their children because some of them work. Those who remain in the cooperative have had activities and training. And another kind of empowerment that we provide is through training, basically information. Because they don't have much information regarding the care for these children, the type of food, the search of information about health and education, we give this kind of information and assistance.
The United Nations says organizations like this one are important for people with Down syndrome to have optimal quality of life.
What do you know about Down syndrome, and what are your thoughts on the living conditions of people with Down syndrome in your community? This is what some of you had to say on Facebook. Buba from Cameroon told us, "I admit that this kind of disease, we do not know much about it, and the effects it has on people would scare me. This is why we think it is necessary to educate the population to avoid isolating the victim." Prosper from Jamena in Chad wrote, "I heard about this disease in my science class in high school, but I have never seen anyone who has it. If I have to work with someone with this, I will give them all of my support. We do not choose to come into the world with such a disease." And Sissoko from Bamako in Mali says, "In reality, if you look closely, there are many who have this in Africa. The problem is that a lot of people don't do the tests to find out if they have it or not, so awareness is important. If you already know that your child has this problem from birth, it is easier to help them." For more on Down syndrome and proper management, we talked to Dr. Abdulbaki Halliru Bashir, who works in the physiotherapy department at Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital. Let's take a look.
So Down syndrome is a genetic condition. It is normally diagnosed in intrauterine life when a child is undergoing development, either through amniocentesis. When you take the sample of the amniotic fluid, you can do genetic testing and you can find that additional chromosome at position 21. And normally you cannot prevent it. One is that the only prevention is the termination of the pregnancy, which normally happen in developed countries. We are not practicing that much because even the amniocentesis or cell-free DNA testing, we don't have it available here. So you cannot detect it here actually. It's after the delivery. Then you see the physical presentation. The round face we see. Then they have broad nose, short nose. This nasal bridge, there is absence of it. Then we have low set of ears. They have small feet, short neck. Apart from that, there are other features that you can find in patients with Down syndrome, like the heart affectation. They can have obesity. They can present with depression. The treatment of the condition is holistic management. Here in physiotherapy, normally they come because of functional affectation. They will have delay in sitting, delay in standing, delay in crawling. They come for us to give them exercise and facilitate those functional abilities. The biggest challenges of people with Down syndrome in Africa is the inclusion. Normally, they are neglected by their families, by their friends, and the society at large. They need to be included. They should be put in school of normal children. They should be treated as normal children, and they should be included in the normal activities of the society. So without this inclusion, we are telling them you are not useful and we cannot benefit from you. So as such, we will not invest our time and resources. The government should recognize them as normal human beings. Teachers should be trained to take care of them because they are special people, they need special attention. Also, the families, they should invest in them. The treatment is continuous throughout the individual's life. Even if they are included, they have, let's say they grow, they get married, and they are working as normal individuals, still they need psychological treatment because they are easily prone to depression and other psychological conditions. They can grow, get married, go to school, have jobs, and also participate in sporting activities.
Have you had difficulties passing stool along the migraine? If yes, you are not alone. Many people complain of migraine headaches when they are constipated. But is there a link? Can constipation cause migraine? People are constipated when they have not had a bowel movement for 3 days. And headaches occur when there is pain in head or face. Migraine are a recurring type of headache that can cause moderate to severe pain that is throbbing or pulsing. The pain is often on one side on your head. Experts at US-based Mayo Clinic say there may be a link between headaches and the gut. People may experience constipation and headaches or migraine at the same time, which may be an indication of other health issues. According to the experts, research suggests that people with frequent headaches may be more likely to develop gastrointestinal disorders and digestive conditions, such as irritable bowel syndrome and celiac disease. Treating these digestive conditions may help reduce the frequency and severity of migraines. Consult a doctor if your migraines, headaches, and constipation occur frequently and simultaneously. Racehorses may retire young, but there could be a new chapter to their story. Being retrained for therapy, according to a study led by the University of Bristol, UK scientists are developing a global standard for retraining retired racehorses for this purpose. Rosanna Philpott reports.
What happens to a horse when it stops racing? While some go on to eventing and pleasure riding, for others the outlook can be bleak. In Britain, however, a new idea is taking hold: to retrain retired racehorses into therapy horses. Scientists are working with charity Racing to Relate to develop an evidence-based standard for selecting and training horses as they transition from life on the racecourse to equine-assisted therapy.
You're going from elite athlete into sort of, a lower level, either athletic or, sort of sedentary sort of life.
Who will benefit from therapy horses? Veterans, disabled children, as well as those struggling with mental health issues.
I think there's almost a sixth sense with the horse. People needing therapy, whether that's mental health or physical disabilities, there seems to be sort of something that gels between a horse and a human.
This isn't necessarily a job for every horse, though. The team is devising a series of tests to assess a thoroughbred's suitability, like this umbrella test.
It's a way of getting to know the horse and how they react in different situations. So we're trying to capture that in the test that we're bringing together. So we've got how they react to an umbrella opening suddenly in front of them, to how they get over that fright. Are they interested afterwards? Do they back away? We've also got how they react to something they've never seen before, and also how they react to different surfaces underfoot.
The 3-year study aims to provide a global standard for the racing industry for retraining racehorses. Sir Mark Prescott has been training horses for over 45 years. Early training, he says, is critical for their long-term welfare.
The horse is unique in that he doesn't fall into either category. He's not the lion who you can never quite trust. And he's not the dog that will love you regardless. Somewhere in between is this wild spirit which symbiotically can be brought together, and that's their fascination.
For the latest news and coverage on the coronavirus, stay connected to Voice of America at voanews.com. You can follow me on Twitter at MkamitiVOA. That's our show for today. Until next time, stay well and strive to make every day a healthy day.